What's up everyone, Clark Glassford joining you again to talk about all the various aspects of your career search process and landing you in the right job that's meant for you, that gives you complete career fulfillment. This week's video is an absolute beauty because it's one of those points of that interview process, of that job selection process that frustrates everybody who faces this situation, which is you're given an offer and it's below your expectations. The salary they've offered you is a lowballed offer and you are not getting what you feel you deserve. So I have got some great tips this week. Do you walk away? No. Do you throw in the towel? Absolutely not. Do you get angry? No, you don't. None of the above. You make sure you stick through the process. You follow my tips in this video to make sure you're getting what you're worth. So great tips coming up. Make sure you check out the links below. Lots of great freebies for you to continue your job search, your career search, and how you navigate all the different aspects of that process. Make sure you also check out the digital workshop that I offer, my practice interview digital accelerator program. Walks you through step by step on how you prepare for that job interview. Like, subscribe to my channel, but you know what? We gotta go. Are you ready? I am. Here we go. So you've just been given a lowball job offer. You've spent so much time preparing for the interview, writing your resume for the job that you've applied for, getting through all steps of their process, whether it's the interview, reference checks, security checks, medicals, whatever they've thrown at you, you've made it through that process and they give you a lowball job offer. Ugh, how awful. And now you want to just walk away, throw in the towel, forget about this whole thing. You're so insulted, but don't be. It is part of the game. And let me tell you why. Why do employers give you a lowball job offer? Well, there's actually three main reasons. I've been on the other side of the table. I have hired thousands of people. And one of the reasons is, guess what? It's a negotiation tactic. As an HR person, as an employer, I want to make you a job offer because guess what? I'm expecting you to negotiate. I'm expecting you to come back with a counter proposal, a counter offer, and whatever I put on paper in front of you for an offer, I need to make sure that I actually have room to further negotiate. So sometimes we make lower job offers in anticipation that you're going to come back with a counter offer. There is always more money on the table. So make sure you have that in mind when you think about preparing your counter offer. And I'm going to tell you how you do that in a moment here. The other reason why a job offer may be low, the employer may have internal equity issues. So what does that mean? Well, that means that they have other people in similar type jobs that are making a similar salary as you, as what they've offered you. So they need to make sure that your salary is at least on par, or maybe even a little bit below what that internal employee's salary is, because they need to maintain internal equity. So that could be one reason why they're giving you a lowball job offer. And the final reason, of course, is budget. Right? Budget. They have a budget. They've got to work within their own budget to make sure that they have the money to pay you for the salary that they've offered you. So they may have actual budget limitations that prevent them from going any higher in that job offer. Now, out of all those things I've just said, should you just walk away now that you've received that lowball job offer or accept what they put on the table? Absolutely not. Let's talk about what you should do to get through that negotiation process. And here's the first thing I want to talk about. It's an absolute pro tip for you. Guess what? They have made you a job offer. And here's the insider's tip on all of that. If they've made you a job offer, chances are there is no option B. There is no option C in terms of candidates that meet the qualifications. You are it. You are the only one in their process. So what does that mean? It actually means it increases your negotiation power. Make sure that you are the person that they're going to negotiate with, and should you come back with a counteroffer, they really need to consider that because there is no one else that they're considering for this role. So you are in the driver's seat. Your negotiation value and ability has just increased because they've already made you an offer. So how do you respond? How do you respond to a lowball job offer? First, ask for time. Do not respond in the moment. Always take that 24-hour rule when you've been given something that you need to consider. You don't want to react emotionally. Take 1 to 2 days to think about the offer and respond. Very important here. It's a simple, polite aspect where you say, thank you very much for the job offer. Really appreciate the opportunity. I'd like to take a day or two just to consider my options here, and I will get back to you. It's as simple as stating that. Don't worry about having to respond right away and just having to say something. You have time. Tip number 2, know your worth, know your minimum accepting value. So when it comes to knowing your worth, what do you feel you're worth in comparison to other jobs in the market within that industry? If you've seen my other negotiation videos, check those out here. Make sure you know your value. So where'd you go? You go to payscale.com, salary.com are 2 great resources where you can punch in your role, punch in your level of position in the industry you're in, and it will give you comparators in terms of salary that could be offered. So you know at least a range going in. That's very important when it comes to making the ask for the counteroffer. Also, knowing your minimum salary that you'd accept. So what does that mean? Well, have an idea of what your budget is. Most people don't consider this. So think about your rent, car payments, food. Do you now have additional travel time to get to that job? Those are all things you need to think about in terms of what your minimum accepting offer will be. So when you go for that counteroffer, you know the minimum that you're willing to accept. All right, respond in writing. Really, really important that you respond in writing. I like to make sure that any sort of contract negotiations between myself and an employer are in writing. Why? Because when it's written, that means it's on paper and you have a record of that. So make sure you put back your response in writing. And if they agree to that, then again, it's in writing and should be built into an overall contract. Make sure your response is polite. Okay, you don't want to come back terse and strong and say, well, if I don't get this, I'm leaving. No, this is a negotiation. Like I said earlier, they're expecting you to come back and negotiate. So make sure your response is polite. And guess what? You're welcome. I have a script that you can follow in terms of how you can respond in an email or in a written letter to an employer who's made you a counteroffer. And let's go through that right now. So here's a way that you can respond to any offer that's been made to you in writing. Here's what you say. Thank you so much for extending an offer and for taking the time to consider me. I'm really honored that you chose me. I admire what your company is doing, and I truly believe that I am bringing great value to your organization and I'm a great fit for this position. Your offer of $50,000 is lower than my desired salary range of $60,000 to $70,000. I feel my experience in this field doing, and then I've put in brackets here, ABC. So listing several key areas of your experience will make an immediate impact. Also, the market research I have done shows that my experience in this role is more aligned to the salary range I have noted. I'm looking for a salary of $65,000. If you're able to work with me to get within my range, I'd love to continue this conversation. Please let me know if you have room to negotiate in your offer. Sincerely, of course, your name. That is how you construct a nice, formal, polite counteroffer response. If you notice, I put in $65,000, which is in the middle of that range. When you're doing your market research, I like to be kind of right in the middle of that range if that number works for you. Not on the low end, but mid to higher end. And also leaving room in my counteroffer that I can negotiate upwards or downwards depending on what that employer comes back with. So make sure you think about all of those things when you're writing out a response and after you've done your research. Now, they may come back. You have to be prepared that they may come back and say, look, we do not have room to move. Unfortunately, our budget is our budget. We've done all our internal equity scans and we cannot go above $50,000. So at that point you walk away? Not quite. So other things you can consider in terms of your negotiation are other benefits that they may offer. So things like vacation time, flexible work schedules, hybrid work schedules, whether they offer bonus and stock options where you can actually develop, you can negotiate those two pieces. And the other pieces, perhaps there's professional development that they may offer you. So training, education, things like that may be important to you that you can negotiate. So if they come back and say, our salary is our salary, look to some of those key pieces. And also, if they come back and meet your salary expectations, those are some other areas where you can further negotiate the offer that's on the table. All pieces that are on the table for you to negotiate, What's the worst they're gonna say? Well, they're gonna say no. And at that point, then you need to make a decision. So in that mind, now you need to know when to walk away. So if they can't meet the salary you're asking for, if they can't meet some of the additional benefits that you're also asking for, then you need to know when to walk away. Don't walk away angry, don't burn bridges, politely decline the offer simply by saying, thank you very much for the opportunity. Unfortunately, the salary offered and the benefits offers just don't meet what I'm looking for, a job, and it doesn't work for my personal life. I thank you for your time. All the best in selecting a candidate for this role. Leave it at that. Sometimes that employer will come back and meet your expectations because, like I said before, they don't actually have another person in that role. They may also say, thank you for your time, and you move on, but at least you've explored every opportunity. So that is how you navigate that tricky field of getting a lowball salary offer, being offered something that isn't acceptable to you. Work through all of those pieces I've just described there so you can explore every opportunity to make sure you're getting paid what you're worth and are in a role that you love, being paid the value that you're worth in that role. So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed that video. Remember to like, subscribe, leave comments below. Any ideas for future videos, leave them in the comments. Happy to be there for you. Reach out to me anytime. And like I always say, keep on rocking those interviews.